Smart 24, driving business.
You're doing a wonderful job staying tuned at Smart 24 TV. This is the point. Today, we've of course talked widely about Uganda Revenue Authority's target in the next financial year, of course as per the national budget that is about to be read out in a few hours. However, there's always been one concern when it comes to the national budget and of course the revenue targets for Uganda Revenue Authority, and that is on tax reforms, new taxes, which is something that is quite repellent when it comes to the Ugandans coming to terms with new taxes and new tax reforms. Last year, actually this year, there was a contentious issue about taxing the unit trusts or the collective investment schemes. These are, of course, schemes where people collectively invest money by saving, and of course returns come as per annual interest, but also daily returns on their money. URA was about to actually get into this space, but fortunately we didn't have the proceedings. Now, Madam Hasfa, when you talk about this next budget, are we looking at any new taxes? Should Ugandans worry about any form of tax reforms whatsoever?
Ideally, as at today, there are no new taxes. But ideally, when we have policy amendments, there are reforms that are done in the different tax types, in narration, in the understanding, removing the ambiguity, and all that. There is guidance that is provided, which at times helps us not to have pending cases in court because the interpretation is a little ambiguous. Normally, when the interpretation has more than one meaning, then it defeats the purpose. When you hear out a client, you feel he's right. When you hear out URA, you feel they are right. So some of those tax policy amendments come in to streamline. Others come in to kindly give guidance on how certain treatments are supposed to be done. Say when you're looking at things like depreciation, when you're looking at things like capital gains. So really they are not new taxes, but they are putting more emphasis and more understanding of how you are going to manage certain tax types. Unless otherwise. But I haven't heard of a new tax coming. And in this season when the economy is not the best, I don't think a new tax would be a solution. Let us put more on what is existing and see where haven't we done a lot that we feel we need to push, and see that everybody takes their fair share of taxes. Because the solution is not having many taxes. Even though you have those that you have, but compliance is at its best, you can get the desired results.
How do I know?
Because if you have many tax types, even managing the many tax types, you could run mad. First of all, interpreting them, making the public understand them, and those that they are attributed to understand them, and second of all, monitoring them is another hurdle. I feel what we have is still enough. We can work with that, but at least ensuring that all of us take our fair share of taxes so that we can up our game in terms of collection the next financial year.
Hajat Hasfa, how do I know I am tax compliant? I am, for example, a businessman. I have my business. I've just started. Maybe I'm an entrepreneur. I buy goods. I sell. I need to know whether I'm tax compliant 100%. Are there specific taxes that are they are not an exemption to anyone, despite the business you're doing, that show that I'm tax compliant?
In most cases, income tax goes to every business that is done, except for a few exemptions that could come, maybe if we have registered religious institutions, research institutions, charity institutions. We have such institutions, or we have associations or bodies governing particular activities like sports, where you could say FUFA, where you could say this or that, that probably could depend on subscription and maybe some donations here and there. They are not in for profit making. So in most cases, income tax may come in as an exemption. But on the general point, income tax is a tax that cuts across. Whether you have just started business, income tax is registered. And let's wait and see what you have done. So all in all, when you are looking at probably taxation, when I'm looking at compliance, it's a journey. As you start your business, that name that you've pinned up, is it known to government? Does URSB know it? Then next, does URA know you? Does government know you? Do you have a team?
Yeah,
do they know what you're doing and where you're doing it from? So that at the time of collecting taxes, they can basically understand you. Does the local government know you? Does KCCA know you? Do you have their permission to trade? And thirdly, do we keep simple business records? Records of your sales, records of your purchases, of administrative expenses. Because this is a guide that is going to help you when you're filing your return. Do I get the return in time? If I get it in time, is it a full declaration? Does it have the quality I expect in it? Implying that have you declared all that happened, that transpired in your business? When you're issuing invoices, aren't you selective? Do you issue an invoice or a receipt to whoever comes in your shop and makes a payment or purchase? Those are things we look at when it comes to payment. Actually, do you pay in time? If in paying in time is an issue, do you have an agreed MOU with URA to keep paying in installment until it's done? Is your profile up to date? If you shifted from Nabugabo and went to Mukono, do we have that amendment done on the system? Is the phone call, does it go through? Is the email correct that when I communicate to you, you will get the information? So it is a 360-degree evaluation that you do on yourself so that you can see your compliance. Because in most cases, let me give you an example. When we went in COVID, the first COVID, as we were interacting with clients, they were telling us, yes, you're collecting taxes, but what has government done for us? Isn't there any recovery relief that is there for businesses? Then you ask them, does government know you? Because if you don't even have a TIN, how will government plan for you? Forgetting that whatever money you might have seen, either in Miogana, we are looking at the parish development model. It is people's money. I mean, it is their taxes that you and me and the others pay. Then at times they are put aside to help those that are disadvantaged. So ideally, kindly give back to government in the same way you expect it to give back to you in terms of jeopardy.
Just that sometimes people feel like they give too much and they feel like they're giving and not getting back.
Exactly. I wouldn't say they are wrong, but the not getting back mechanism is on the service side. We have a number of institutions. They are accountable. They should be held accountable. I have done my work as URA. I have brought the monies in the consolidated fund. But when it comes to cutting this cake and you are given whatever amounts, I mean, do an accountability to the nationals, do an accountability to the citizens to know what you have done for them this year and what has failed. If they are not put to task to do an accountability, then how will HAFSA come and say, my dear, this service is wanting, yet it is in your mandate, and you got the vote from the national cake?
Yeah.
I mean, as I am put to task to account for why the deficit, what didn't I do? Actually also account what activities were done, what didn't you do, and why, and when do you plan to do it anyway? Because if you were facilitated. So I think that is the spirit in which we should operate. Yes, it hurts for one to pay a lot and they can't see service, but I'm equally looking for the same service, the tax collector. I also pay and wait for the service to come. I wait for it this year. It comes in small quantities. I wait another year. In my religion, they say, Inshallah.
Yes.
You keep on waiting. You be patient and see whether there is an improvement.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Hajat Hasfa, for sparing time and for sharing your insights with us on the point.
Thank you very much. And we thank our viewers for having given us all this time to learn with us, to listen to us. And we appreciate them for appreciating us.
Yeah.
Tax collection is not an easy job. But those clients, those traders, whoever they are, kindly do appreciate us. They handhold us to see that we can get these monies. Because some come voluntarily and pay. So I would like to thank them very much. And we pledge that we will improve more on the services. We will give you something better than what you are seeing today. But at the end of the day, kindly also check yourself in between today and the 30th. If you haven't communicated to URA in terms of a return, kindly do so. And if there is a payment, kindly do so that we can keep that good relation we've had. We do not need to lock your shop so that you can pay. Because when I look it, ideally you don't have clients.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get the money? I want you to pay, to put in that return. Then you look for the money as you're paying. Look for the money as you're paying. But we wish you God's blessings. And we hope to hear from one another after the budget reading. We'll be coming back to simplify, to demystify the budget, to see how best we can all understand it, own it, and see how we're going to start the year 2023-2024.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it from us. I want to thank you so much for staying with us all the way. I want to thank those of you who have been online. I've seen comments from Madrin Bugolobi. I've seen comments from Regan Howard. I've seen comments from Jackson. Thank you so much for your contributions towards the show. I hope your questions got answered. And of course, we had a wonderful time. We are going to, of course, have the budget reading tomorrow. And those of you who are going to be with us, definitely stick around on Smart 24 TV. We shall have a live broadcast of that. And of course, later on, we shall have a breakdown and analysis of the same. So keep tuned on Smart 24 TV. Up next is, of course, Business Today, and of course your updates from right here in Uganda, the business updates and what's happening to our local businessman, and of course the international business news. My name is Anthony Sebale. I've been your host. I'll catch you next time, same place, and of course same time. Have a wonderful night. Bye for now.
Smart 24